Uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
This is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water. Trust me, I'm like a smart person. I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius. I had the best words. Tolerated. I know words. Mike Pounds. I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation. But there's no better word than stupid. Anonymous, really anonymous. I'm very highly educated. One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water. Had the best words. God bless the United States.
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. It's Friday, and already we're starting out Friday on a great note. Over on Twitch, we're just being raided by Mini Morpho. Hey, welcome to the show, all the Mini Morpho watchers, and I'm assuming TYT fans as well. So it's a good day to start out. I'm back, obviously. Yesterday we're out. I have not been feeling well over the last couple of days. I'm feeling jab energy today. So
please clap.
Yeah, please clap. It helps sustain me. It sustains. No, I don't know. But hey, you know what? I'm gonna try to do my best to give you all an entertaining / informative show, and then I will pass out later. So fun times. All right, so we got a great show for you guys, though. We got the Q-Shaman, that guy. We're going to talk about him a little bit. How he seems to be a good, pretty good FBI resource now. Fun times. We've got Donald Trump stiffing Rudy Giuliani. So good. We've got a Trump supporter that's sorry, but not really sorry for voting for fascism twice. And we're going to go with that ridiculous apology. I'm going to talk about that. We've got, of course, Ivanka Trump not feeling very welcome or will not be very welcomed in her new area living. And then I'm going to talk about the stimulus checks. Stimulus checks. Sometimes. How's the Alex Jones soundboard coming along? Not very well. I need to work on that. I need more clips. I need more sound clips for that. All right. Anyway, let's dive in. Sure. Before we do, please like and share the stream. Very, very helpful if you do. Those on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, please like and share. Twitch, like do the bits and subscriptions and stuff. That always helps the show as well. Yeah, let's do it. All right. So President Trump got impeached by House Democrats for incitement of violence. Of course, that's is about the Capitol riot that happened on the 6th of this month. So now Republicans, not really happy about this. They continue to defend the president by saying that, no, he did no such thing. There was no incitement there. What are you talking about? Incitement. What is this? Fake news, not true. Antifa, it's the Democrats, it's both sides. Oh, look, we found a left-winger inside of our, in the Capitol. He's been arrested. It's all over Fox News now. Except that person appears to be getting outed at this very moment as an op. Yeah. So there's a gigantic thread about that. I will post that in the description for you all to take a look at. But this person, no, this Capitol riot, 100% Republican, 100% Trump supporter. All right, so anyway, now what happened is it was on the implied orders of the president to his followers. How do I know? Well, his followers are starting to sing to law enforcement. In fact, according to court documents that had come out, the insurrectionists believed that they were carrying out Donald Trump's explicit orders. Because, it turns out that the most recognizable person involved in the riot spilled the tea to law enforcement. So it's this guy. It's the guy known as the Q-Shaman or whatever. His real name is Jacob Chansley. He talked to the FBI, and here's what that said in the affidavit. Quote, your affiant and an FBI agent spoke on the phone with Jacob Chansley, who confirmed that he was the male in the face paint and the headdress in the vice president's chair in the Senate. Chansley stated that he came as part of a group effort with other quote-unquote patriots from Arizona at the request of the president that all quote-unquote patriots come to D.C. on January 6, 2021. Patriots. Patriots. They keep saying that word, right? They keep saying the word patriot, but I don't think that they know what that means because, during that Capitol riot, there was that little insurrection. There were people carrying Confederate flags. Confederate flags in the Capitol building. As a real American, that's insulting to see that happen, okay? The Confederacy, need I remind you, is not America. It's un-American. It was never America. It was anti-America. It literally attacked America. It is anti-freedom. The Confederate flag is anti-freedom because it stood for a side that literally wanted to keep people in chains. So what country are these supposed patriots serving? Because it ain't the United States. It ain't our country. It ain't my country. No. Here's the thing. These Trump supporters, they heard what they wanted to hear from the president. Okay? During his speech, Trump said, quote, if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. You're not going to have a country. It's not going to exist. What are you talking about? What does that even mean? Other than, of course, being an incitement to, quote unquote, fight like hell, what does that even mean? What does it mean? You're not going to have a country anymore. What do they think the left's going to kick them out of the country? Well, I mean, maybe. Maybe that's what they think. Because the far right, they want to do that with people who are not white Christian conservatives. They want to kick out the black people. They want to kick out the Latinos, people of Middle Eastern descent. They want to kick out the Asian Americans as well. Because Asian Americans under the Trump administration have been facing a ton of racism because of Trump's fixation on China, as well as falsely blaming them for, of course, coronavirus. And so, yeah, there's that racism going on. And so, I don't know. They think, and I've gone into this before, great replacement nonsense, okay? Where, oh no, it's the left that's bringing in all these minorities into the country so that they can make us a minority and then take over the country. It's ridiculous. It's racist, xenophobic. It's just dumb. It's also just really dumb. All right, so, but they believe it. They believe it. And I don't even know if Trump particularly does. I mean, he's like your old school racist, like, I don't want those kinds of people in my fine establishments, my fine gaudy establishments. But it doesn't matter if he truly believes it or not, because okay, so he does a couple of things. For one, he loves to A/B test his crowd, right? And say things that are vague, but also explicit in the same breath, okay? And so, yes, he's vague and saying, well, you should fight for the country. You should go down to the Capitol. I didn't say explicitly riot, but you kind of get what I mean. So it's like a dog whistle. It's stochastic terrorism. That's what it is. He says the things, and the things get people to do violent things, okay? And so let me give you the definition, the official definition of stochastic terrorism to kind of help you along with what I'm trying to say. It is the public demonization of a person or a group resulting in the incitement of a violent act, which is statistically probable, but whose specifics cannot be predicted. So this, person or group happens to be Democrats. Democrats, they're stealing the election from us. They're stealing the country. You're not going to have a country if you don't have rule of law because the Democrats hate the law. I mean, it's pretty close to some of the stuff that we have heard Trump say. Okay? And so add that with the intentionally vague rhetoric, which has actually gotten a little specific. Again, the Democrats have stole the election, and you need to fight for it, or else you're not going to have a country. You need to go up into Washington, D.C. And then Rudy saying, oh, we need to have a trial by combat. That's definite incitement. So, and again, over the last 4 years, because it hasn't just happened in the last year. Okay, it's been happening for a long time. And so Trump and the right wing have been stoking this mindset through dog whistles, many times human whistles. We've all heard it. The right wing and the allies have been doing this. And so nobody should be shocked at all that any of this happened, which is why he absolutely should be impeached and be held liable, 100%. I don't think it's a waste of time at all. I think people do need to be held accountable for the things that they do, especially when it comes to Trump trying to rip apart the country for his own ego and his own power. And that's really what it comes down to. All right. Do that voice when you moving your hand back. Tremendous. Let me tell you what, very tremendous. I have great people on both sides. There are great people on both sides. Great patriots. Okay, anyway. Moving on from that. Trial by wombat. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Moving on here. Let's go to Giuliani. You know how easy it is to find a bad picture of Giuliani? I don't think there's a good one. I really don't think there's a good one. The best one, though. He did it. Yep. President Donald Trump has predictably just screwed over Rudy Giuliani. Who did not see this one coming? Come on. All right. Anyway, let me give you some details. So according to a report in CNN, Donald Trump, irritated at being impeached for a second time. So he's breaking records. He's breaking all the records. Breaking records at being impeached the most times out of any president ever. He's been impeached more times than he's been reelected. Oh, so good. Now he has told his people, to stop paying Rudy Giuliani's legal fees. So, what happened to that $20,000 a day? Gone. So now, to get into more detail here, Trump has been blaming his longtime personal attorney and many others for the predicament that he now finds himself in. What is he supposed to do? No evidence of voter fraud. There's no reason to overturn a lawful election. And Rudy Giuliani has gone to court, and he can't go and say the things that he's been saying on op-eds and tweets and in the news. He can't do that because it turns out you can't lie to a judge without penalties. So they're not even bringing that evidence in there. And so Donald Trump, he's like, well, why you not do this? Why are you not defending me? Why are you not talking about why are you not winning? There's no winning going on here, Rudy. What are you doing, Rudy? And so Rudy's not getting paid because he's not doing the job that he's hired to do because he can't, because he has no case. There's no evidence. And so not good. Trump has also not accepted any responsibility in public or private due to the incitement of the Capitol riots as well. So there you go. no more $20,000. You don't get to, what is it? Do not pass go, do not collect $20,000. All right, anyway. So there's more. Giuliani, however, being, denied pay, is still expected to play a role in Donald Trump's impeachment defense, but has been left out of most conversations thus far. Now, Trump's campaign senior advisor, Jason Miller, pushed back on reports a little bit that Trump was souring on Giuliani, though did not deny the president had told associates not to pay him. So, all right. Here's what he said. Just spoke with President Trump and he told me that Rudy Giuliani is a great guy and a patriot devoted to services to the country. We all love America's mayor, Miller wrote on Thursday morning. But that doesn't address anything. That doesn't address the reports that he's souring on Giuliani. It doesn't talk about how he's not getting paid. It's meaningless stuff. It's a non-answer. It's amazing that they put all of those words together in a sentence and yet said absolutely nothing. So, okay, let me break it down. Here's the situation as it folds, as it stands, right? As it is unfolded. Rudy Giuliani has been left out of conversation when it comes to Donald Trump's defense and impeachment. And he is not getting paid for any of his services and is also getting blamed for Donald Trump being impeached again and not defending him enough. So what does that mean? I think that means effectively he's fired, even though he's not officially fired. I mean, but it's clear that he's not really doing anything. And so what is going on? Now, this next part is even better. One White House advisor told CNN that, quote, everybody's angry at everyone. Inside the White House, with the president being upset because he thinks people aren't defending him enough. Quote, he's in self-pity mode, the source said, with Trump complaining he's been under siege for 5 years, and he views his latest impeachment as a continuation of all of that. They're not defending me enough. They're not defending me enough. They're not being loyal enough. I'm under siege. I'm the most powerful person in the world, but I'm still under siege. The impeachment, it's so unfair. I did not incite people. All I did is to tell them to go to the Capitol and take over our democracy and pressure them. Mike Pence, he did not do what he was supposed to do. I'm so mad. Jesus Christ. Now, the good news is, I guess, for him, it's all going to be over pretty soon. I mean, he won't be in power come January 20th, which is when Biden takes over. But then again, he's still going to be impeached by the Senate. They're going to take it up after Biden gets sworn in. And then after that, you've also got the Southern District of New York. I'm pretty sure Mitch McConnell can't wait to wash his hands of Donald Trump. Like, done. Let's forget about this guy. He doesn't represent our party. He's Donald Trump. Well, I'm not really in a rush to defend him, says Mitch McConnell. I mean, look, seriously, he is not getting the support of the Republican Party that he did during the first impeachment. So, yeah, they are ready to wash their hands of him. Mitch McConnell is not at all really interested. In fact, he was pleased at the first impeachment. He was pleased. And so, yeah, it's not going to go well. It's not going well. And then, of course, you add in the fact that he's got a lot of money coming in, a lot of, for loans that he owes to Deutsche Bank, that he probably does not have any money for. Then you also have the Southern District of New York, who is going after him as well. All that's happening after the election. The guy's screwed, and I think everybody knows it. I'm guessing everybody except for Rudy Giuliani. Now, the article notes that many people close to Trump view the current situation as different than his first impeachment. He was charged for pressuring the government of Ukraine to dig up dirt on Biden to try to influence the presidential election. Quote, his actions led to hear no one else, the White House advisor said. adding that he instigated a mob to charge the Capitol building to stop the certification. He's not going to find a lot of sympathetic Republicans. And now, of course, you see the final turning on his friends, his allies, and obviously it's not looking good. And then you've got Rudy. Rudy, trial by combat, Giuliani, the most steadfast friend and ally, the guy who has lost all goodwill and respect from everyone else over the years, who has just been disbarred, I believe, by the bar of New York. And now he might also be facing possible charges for inciting insurrection. I'm sorry, insurrection. Wow. Okay, then. That's an unfortunate, that is an unfortunate slip right there. Borat. Oh my God. Someone's going to clip that. Someone's going to clip it. I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen. All right. Anyway. Rudy's going to face, like, he's possibly going to face charges for inciting insurrection. And he's going to be the last Trump friend to fall. And it's going to be absolutely glorious to behold. I'm telling you, this is what happens when I feel like shit. Oh, it was worth it, wasn't it? All right. Woo. All right. Wow. We should just call the show over. No, you can't leave on that one. Like you can't not leave on that high note. All right. Gotta breathe. Just breathe. Rudy looks like a oh God. It's all veiny. He's not looking good. Rudy's looking a little stressed there. He needs to relax. Okay. Anyway. Let's do it. We got one more story and then I'm going to take a quick break, okay? Let's do that. Whew. I'm gonna dunk on this guy. A Trump supporter who voted both in 2016 and 2020 for the president is having a couple of regrets and is offering sort of an apology, but kind of a non-apology as well. So this is Hunter Baker, the Dean of Arts and Sciences and Professor of Political Science at Union University. So he writes at this conservative blog, Public Discourse, that he voted for Trump. He voted for Trump twice. And then he's like, oh man, you know what? I think I might have made a mistake. Interesting. So understand though, before I get into it, this is an educated person. Okay, this is somebody who is not the American left behind by the Obama administration. This is a member of the working class. This is not somebody who's been impacted by bad trade deals and anything like that. No. This is somebody who makes good money. He's an educator. He's a college professor. And so he's supposed to know not only politics, but also some history, and he's supposed to have common sense, okay? But the dude got it wrong, not once, but twice, and enabled a fascist. And now, after all of this, he's like, yeah, you know what? Super bad, not good. So now first, before I get into the apology, what would bring an educated person to support Donald Trump? Well, it's pretty simple, right? It's about what they would get in return. So selfishness, a little bit of greed, stuff like that. So now he said that his main reason is that Donald Trump would be far better for protecting Americans' religious liberty than either Hillary Clinton or President-elect Joe Biden. So he's stating one of his main reasons as, hey man, religious freedom. It's my religious freedom. Okay, so I think that Donald Trump, who's not religious at all, 2 Corinthians, are you kidding me? This guy, he's never read a Bible in his entire life. You know it. You know it. It's obvious. He's a fraud when it comes to religion. But again, they don't care. They really don't care. And I'm sure some of those televangelists that supported him, they knew that. And they're like, yeah, we really don't care. Sometimes God works in mysterious ways. Yes, very, very, very mysterious. That they would get somebody that's so obviously not religious and doesn't share our values, but we're going to support him anyway because of something. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all. But okay, anyway, that's what he says. Now, Joe Biden's a practicing Catholic. And Joe Biden is also personally pro-life. So that doesn't make any sense. And for one, here's the thing. The argument for religious liberty that conservatives tend to use, right? It's a cover for being able to control women's bodies and hate gay people and trans people. And that's really what it is. Dress it up however you like. That's what quote-unquote religious freedom means in the American context. It's not as if Christians are being oppressed in this country. Okay? They're not. I mean, you can make you make the case that there are other smaller religious minorities that are being repressed in certain ways, I guess, in this country. Although, when it comes to repression compared to the rest of the world, for example, in China with the Uyghur Muslims, they're literally being put into camps. Okay, so that's not good. That's repression. You also had the groups in, I believe, Myanmar that were also getting repressed as well. And then, of course, you look in some of the Middle Eastern areas where you've got Coptic Christians that were, facing off against ISIS and getting repressed by some of those governments there as well. So when you look at it, religions in America tend to actually have it pretty good, especially Christians who happen to be in the majority. So I don't understand where this whole thing about, oh, my religious freedom, I'm being oppressed by the big bad government, Christianity, it's a big oppression here in America. Not at all true. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, that said, his main thing, though, was like, well, I mean, I was totally with Trump until the attack in the Capitol, really. That was where he kind of drew the line, or that's where I kind of draw the line, that's where Trump went a little too far. Inciting insurrection, a little too far. Oh, okay. So it wasn't keeping the kids in the cages. Nope, obviously not. Totally fine by him. Wasn't the constant assault on LGBTQ plus rights? No, of course not. It's just that religious freedom. Wasn't the sexism, wasn't the racism, wasn't the xenophobia, wasn't the targeted destruction of the environmental regulations or the environment overall. It wasn't the cozying up to dictators, authoritarians like Mohammed bin Salman. Nope. Wasn't any of the constant scandals? Nope. None of that. It took a violent overthrow attempt for him to say, oh yeah, I might have voted for the wrong person. Oh, great. Fantastic. But here's what he said. Quote, I'm writing to offer an apology. The short version is this: I severely underestimated the threat posed by a Donald Trump presidency. You don't say. Wow. Really? I mean, look, how many videos, how many articles, how many warnings did we send out? Okay, how many times have I talked about nonstop for the last 4 years? Okay, Donald Trump's a fascist, he's a proto-fascist, he's an authoritarian. And every time, right, the response, and you got a lot of response, obviously, from conservatives saying, you libs, F you libs, you're over-exaggerating, it's fine. You know who the real tyrant was? The real tyrant was Obama. Come on. But then, you also had some lefties that were saying the same thing. Okay? they were saying like, oh, establishment shills. Come on, Trump's not that bad. I mean, he'll fight the establishment. And then, when he fights the establishment, it could get so bad that, eventually we'll have a progressive revolution. What happened? We ended up with Joe freaking Biden. Yeah, oh yeah, some progressive revolution there, where we got one of the most conservative Democrats. Ridiculous. I mean, maybe we finally woke up the country to how fascism has been waiting around the corner, and that's good, but yet not enough people listen to us. 75 million people voted for Donald Trump. That's crazy. That's insane. And this guy, again, ignored all of that. Here's what he said. When some suggested Donald Trump had fascist tendencies, I had laughed at their ridiculousness. I mean, really, the man had been in a Home Alone movie. Oh, he can never be a fascist because he's a good entertainer clown. Oh. But then said, I knew I was wrong as January 6th approached and the president started calling for Vice President Mike Pence to reject certification of the Electoral College results. This, of course, was on top of the disturbing phone call to the Georgia Secretary of State, urging him to find 11,780 additional votes. Just find them. I don't know. I don't care where they come from. Just find me some votes. Find me some votes. Ridiculous. And at the same time, he encouraged the mob to descend on the Capitol. Again, peaceful protest is fine, but when it comes to, what we had, what we saw, that is not acceptable. And so, now, here's what he said. I do not suggest that the Americans who went to the Capitol, the great majority of them peaceful, bore ill intent. But I do think that the president intended to create a spectacle that would put pressure on Mike Pence to take dramatic and extra legal step that would fundamentally betray the American political order and its traditions. Now, obviously, Mike Pence did not have the power to do that. Like some of his lawyers Jason Miller had suggested that he did not have that power to not certify the results. And so this guy, I guess, was apparently worried like, oh, I can't believe he's urging Mike Pence to keep him as president. After warning for months and months and months, over a year, about voter fraud that doesn't exist. How could you not see it? How could you not see it? And by the way, they did come for a riot. They were not peaceful. There were bombs. They found bombs. They also, according to court documents that just came out, that were just released, planned to take lawmakers hostage and assassinate others. Imagine if they got their hands on, Mike Pence. They were chanting, hang Mike Pence. Or not much less, Cori Bush, AOC, Ayanna Pressley, Bernie Sanders. All those, more the high profile, Nancy Pelosi, the high profile politicians, they would have went after. It would have been a disaster. It would have been a disaster. And so, if you were part of that mob, no, I don't think that you had good intent at all. Sorry. Finally, he says, quote, the reason for this apology then is because the Never Trumpers were right about the president in a very precise kind of way. They understood that the public policy of a Republican-dominated administration would likely be pretty good, as it indeed was. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was bad. Again, something that I didn't mention earlier, the things that, he ignored when it came to Trump's leadership, when it comes to leadership style and policy, is that we have a pandemic that has killed over, nearly 400,000 Americans now. It is worse than it's ever been. And the Trump administration did not prepare for it, downplayed it constantly, and even said, I'm not really worried about it too much. In fact, I want to underplay it. I don't want to, I'm going to do it on purpose. I'm going to underplay this on purpose because we just want to open up. And that's it. Yeah, grandma be damned. Let's open up the economy already. Like, we're done with this. So that's an absolute disaster. So no, it was bad. Unless, of course, you were really wealthy, then you made out pretty good. Here's what he said, too. I don't apologize for the votes I cast after careful, indeed, searching consideration. However, I do have to apologize for my view of the Never-Trumpers, whom I found to be histrionic and unrealistic. They saw further that there was significant risk involved with Donald Trump that could very well outweigh the policy outcomes. They were right about that, and they deserve an apology from me, and perhaps others who saw it the way I did, for not perceiving that their concerns were grounded in reality, not merely some idealistic moral fragility. No, this guy's insufferable. And even without me having to do a ridiculous voice for him, insufferable. Holy crap. That's your apology. That's your apology. Yeah, hey, turns out, I voted for fascism twice, and it was pretty good for me. I got things out of it, but what? I didn't know it was going to go that far. Oof. Especially since it failed, Maybe had it not failed and Donald Trump had won a second term, the guy would still probably be on the Trump train, but nobody wants to be on the losing side. Nobody wants to be a loser. And so the guy's saying, oops, my bad, even though I still would have voted the exact same way, what are you going to do? Yeah, oops. Not only that, but he says that they warned me and that, hey, I was just so caught up in what I was getting from him, tax cuts and religious freedom. I get to hate gay people every day. And, and I just considered your warnings of creeping fascism to be, just a sign of moral fragility. You're so fragile. Oh my God. I hate this guy. I'm sorry. I don't like this guy. This guy's a dick. And he's such a douchebag. He's insufferable, smug, intellectual type. On the right, this guy's like Ben Shapiro. All right? The kind of person that only cares about themselves and what Donald Trump gave him. And a lot of Trump supporters happen to be just like this. It's not, understand that this is not, there's a false perception of Trump supporters still to this day. Okay, that no, it was the working class, it's the people that were left behind. Those are the people that, supported Donald Trump the most. No. And, that Capitol riot, it was just the unheard masses of working class people. No, the people who were there, business owners, a lot of them, small business owners, as well as people who flew in on private jets, conservative bloggers and vloggers, and personalities. That's really it. Hell, the Q-Shaman guy, he has to have an organic diet. This is not a working class person. Okay? Not a working class person at all. At all. More white people, wealthy white people, supported Trump than Biden. That's a fact. It's a fact. These are not working class folks because guess what? The Republican Party doesn't really represent the working class. I would say the working class doesn't really have a lot of representation. And the closest thing they have is the Democrats, which need a lot of work. A lot of work. But other than that, as far as this guy is concerned, I don't think he deserves any sort of forgiveness for this. Nope, not at all. He's trying to ignore and downplay his role in enabling and defending a fascist for his own personal gain. The worst kind of people. The worst. All right. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. I have an Ivanka story that I'm sure you'll enjoy. And then we're going to go after the Joe Biden stimulus. And look at what's inside. There's good stuff. There's bad stuff. And so we're going to, we're going to break it down. So stay right here. Round the Nation. We'll be right back.
It's like a Sharknado, except with poop.
I will eat your ass.
Wait, you're getting nervous, man.
Welcome back to the show. Around the nation right here, Waldorf Nation. Jeff Waldorf back here with you. All right, so before I get into it, I want to read a couple of super chats that have come in. Stacey Williams humbly requests that I never talk about Rudy's erection again. Okay, wish granted. Gladly. Okay. Adrian Benefield says, it's good to see me back. Thought QAnon might have gotten me. From what I'm seeing, they're doing genetic experiments with men and with buffaloes and flags or something. Oh my God. Horrifying experiments. Okay, anyway. Okay. Let's see. Let's go over here to Twitch. Thank you for the subscription, Tempadan. Much appreciated for the tier 1 sub. Let's see. There's some biddies here. McKady with the 100 bits. Thank you so much for the cheer. Much appreciated. That's one way to help the show. Obviously, the other ways, of course, to become a patron. That's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, as well as, of course, supporting us by becoming a channel member. And obviously, share. Sharing is good. Sharing is caring. Let's see. John Morris said, voted for Biden because I knew once the right wing was able to brand Bernie Sanders was socialist, never win. I will respectfully disagree. I certainly, there is a lot of people who are in the older voter brackets that are still swayed by Red Scare language, but some of the polling does show that a lot of younger people are much more progressive. And so I don't necessarily think on, the same way that you do on that. And so, I could probably do a longer, maybe a longer explanation or a longer segment of why, somebody with Bernie Sanders policies, which really they're not socialists, they're soc dem. And so that's the other thing, is that there's not a lot of understanding of what the word socialism actually means and what it means in practice. It just means controlling the means of production. Like, for example, democratizing the workplace. That's what socialism is. It's having people, the workers, do a worker cooperative, where the workers then take ownership of the actual company that they work for. And I think that's actually a positive thing that we should go forward, as there are worker cooperatives that right now operate in Europe, and they're very successful companies and very successful workers. So anyway, in this country, there's the socialism is very poorly defined and explained, and the right wing, you are correct, they do like to use it as kind of a catch-all to things that they don't like. But anyway, moving on. Make fun of Ivanka. A lot of things are poorly defined here. True. Very true. Ivanka Trump has long wanted to wade into politics, just like her daddy. In fact, Jared Kushner, her husband, and her recently bought a residence at the Billionaire's Bunker on Indian Creek Island in Florida, in which they plan to live. So now living there would, I guess, presumably give her an in when it comes to Florida politics. So now Florida politics, massively right wing, of course. So if anybody's got a chance there, it's Ivanka Trump. So now that is until, well, her father literally incited a mob to overthrow the country. Oops. Sources tell CNN White House correspondent Kate Bennett that both Ivanka and husband Jared Kushner are worried about what they're going to do next because the last week's riots have provided quote-unquote horrific images that will follow them wherever they go. Oh no! Horrific images. of people being beaten, of windows being smashed, of people looting the inside of the Capitol building, literally spreading feces all over the place. And that was all an incitement, of course, from her father, President Trump. And by the way, she tweeted some unfortunate things as well before she ended up having to delete them. She tweeted support for the riots, which she called the protest, and then had to delete it later because it got violent. Not good. Quote from the report, that has Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump in a bit of a panic as they look to the future. I talked to a lot of sources today who say they're questioning everything now, from where they're going to live after the White House to what their careers will be. So they bought this multi-million-dollar mansion in the billionaire's bunker, right, over in Florida. And now they're like, I don't know where we're going to live. And by the way, they're not the only ones. Trump himself is saying he's going to live in Mar-a-Lago because he, can't go back to New York. New York doesn't want him. Also, the Southern District of New York, they actually do want him, but not in a good way. And so he's like, I don't know, I'll live at Mar-a-Lago. But then an agreement that he had signed at Mar-a-Lago says that he can't actually live there. And so we have no idea where he's going to go. And now Ivanka has no idea where she's going to go because apparently she is incredibly unwelcome everywhere. Bennett explained that Ivanka and Kushner both know that they are no longer welcome in New York. And they also feel that they might not be wanted in Bedminster, that's in New Jersey. Additionally, he said that the Trump riots are making it very difficult for them to tout any achievements that they made inside this administration that they were planning to make as part of a farewell tour. Well, as always, the question I always ask, what did you do exactly? What did you do? Ivanka didn't do a whole lot, other than, use her position to try to hobnob with world leaders very poorly and, get special Chinese patents and trademarks for her businesses. And that's really about it. Kushner, to be fair, Kushner did push for criminal justice reform. And of course, his father, who was in prison, had recently gotten pardoned by the president himself. So, and as far as, the other person that they had gotten pardoned, Kim Kardashian deserves a lot more credit for that than Ivanka or Jared. But nonetheless, there's that. Other than that, Kushner did not deliver anything. You remember he was supposed to bring the Middle East peace? Yeah, didn't do that. Didn't really do much of that. But tried to extort another country in order to get money so that he could pay off his failing slumlord apartment complex that he had in New York, which was a disastrous investment. So there's all of that. And of course, Ivanka did less, but it gets better. I mentioned that they're not welcome in New York or New Jersey, right? And it turns out they're not welcome in Florida either. At least in some of the fancy country clubs that they want to be a part of. According to Vanity Fair, the Kushner family is being denied entry to the ever-exclusive Indian Creek Country Club. Oh my gosh. A source explained to the outlet on Wednesday that you have to be nominated to make a formal application, but it only takes one member to object against any new member, and many members are objecting, particularly after the events at the Capitol on January 6th. They added, the Indian Creek Country Club members are very picky, and the word is that Ivanka need not apply. Going on to suggest that Jared and Ivanka can lunch with their fellow patriots at Mar-a-Lago. Oh, sad. Oh, that's so sad. That said, that there's no good people in the story. Everyone sucks in the story. The 300-member Indian Creek Country Club has had its own controversies. They used to have a practice of only allowing a handful of Jewish people and people of color as members. By the way, Kushner and Ivanka are Jewish. Interesting. Now, again, that was it used to be their policy, and now they just are denying Ivanka and Jared because of how toxic the Trump brand is. And so they're turning their noses up at Ivanka. And so, look, it's bad when your terrible fellow rich people don't even like you. And you're just like them. I mean, that's how toxic they are. All right, the whole family is radioactive, not just politically, but it happens to be socially. Their own social class is not at all interested in them. You know what I say? You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. Bad. Okay. One more here. It appears the bait and switch has already begun before Biden even begins his term. So now, yesterday, Joe Biden, president-elect, has released his new coronavirus stimulus package. Now, there are some good things in it. There's some fantastic things in it, actually. But there's one thing that, well, it kind of goes back in a central promise, and that's not good. Now, the proposal itself is around $1.9 trillion, so it's not as big as some of the other coronavirus stimulus packages that have been passed through the House of Representatives, for example. But it is slightly bigger, obviously, than the Republican plans that we have seen. So, what's in it? Well, in it, Biden would increase the federal boost to the jobless, the unemployment, to about $400 a week, up from $300. That's actually less than the CARES Act, which was $600. So that's not good. He also extended payments along with two key pandemic unemployment programs through September. Okay, that is good. It would continue to provide benefits to the self-employed, independent contractors, gig workers, and certain people affected by the pandemic. There would also be an additional $25 billion in rental assistance. So that's $50 billion total. Now, still, there were recent reports that said that Americans are over $70 billion behind in rent. And so this is still not going to solve the problem, although it gets a little bit closer. So another $5 billion would be helped to set aside struggling renters pay their utility bills. Biden is also calling for $5 billion to help states and localities assist those at risk of experiencing homelessness. And so basically, again, there's good stuff in it, but it feels like half measures. Okay, it's not quite enough to meet the need, and to me, that doesn't seem smart, considering how right now we're in the worst part of the pandemic, and I mean, and the fact that they are going to have control of the White House, and the Senate, where they can actually go really big and set us up to, when we reopen, to have a massive stimulus to go and have people go out and resume spending, resume life, and really build the economy back up to where it should be, to better than before. I mean, your whole thing was supposed to be build back better, but if you go too light on stimulus, we're not going to really do that. We're not going to get to that position. And so that's what I'm concerned about. And that's going to have electoral implications down the line as well, as you're going to have Republicans running on the quote-unquote poor economy, which is, going to affect them in 2022, 2024. And so that's the other thing that I'm concerned about. Nonetheless, more stuff. The plan would extend the federal eviction moratorium, set to expire at the end of January, to September 30th. Again, that's positive. As well as allow people with federally guaranteed mortgages to apply for forbearance until September 30th. Okay. Now, there's additional food aid as well, 15%. Increase in food stamps, additional billions of dollars for vaccines and testing, small business relief, paid leave, subsidies for health insurance for people who have lost their health insurance through work. And the big one is raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. That's interesting, it being part of this bill. So I guess you could look at it like, well, he's trying to put this in. This would be smart, so that when people start to get back to work or are able to get back to work, they're going to have a higher minimum wage, and that's good. And I support raising the minimum wage. And it's actually a pretty bold proposal to put inside of a coronavirus relief package. So I think it gives credit for that. That's a Bernie Sanders idea that Biden has adopted. That's good. That's good. it's also getting rid of the tipped minimum wage as well. So, but what's missing here? Well, what's missing is a central promise that was made during not only the campaign, but also, I should say less, I guess more of after the campaign, after President Trump picked up on the $2,000 idea, then of course the Democrats, Pelosi, and then Biden followed up by promising $2,000. But really it was stressed during the Senate runoff over in Georgia. Hey, if you vote for Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, we're going to give you $2,000 in coronavirus stimulus to help you and your family. Well, it worked. It was effective. And yet, now this is calling for not $2,000, but $1,400. So now they're doing this trick, though. It's like, well, and I remember Biden saying this, the $600 that we're, supporting in this bill, the last coronavirus stimulus, that's a down payment. I guess he meant in a literal sense, because they're offering $1,400. And they're saying, well, if you add $1,400 to $600, then you're going to get $2,000. See? We did it. See? Promises kept. No. That's a BS politician move. Bait and switch, not good. Look, I remember the Democrats explicitly saying, vote for us, we're going to give you a $2,000 check. Well, people did. We won because of it. Okay? And it was something that even had Republicans on board. And yet, didn't happen. And here's the thing, too. There's no reason that we can't do that. Again, Republicans cannot stop us from passing a $2,000 stimulus check. Bernie Sanders is the head of the budget committee. He can do this through a process called budget reconciliation. He doesn't have to have additional Republican votes. Could do that through a simple majority, but they refuse to do that. The Democrats have to shoot themselves in the foot with some technocratic nonsense in order to, of course, try to appeal to Republicans. I mean, here's the other thing. Like, I don't personally need that. This isn't for me. I'm doing fine. I'm doing okay. All right. But what about the American people who are not doing okay? There are millions of people out there that are struggling that $1,400 or just $2,000. And remember, that's a compromise. $2,000 is a compromise. The one-time check. They're not doing so well. They need that additional money to help them survive and catch up. And then once the pandemic is over, begin to thrive and spend money again. It's a dumb move, okay? I mean, you made a promise, a campaign promise that you were within your power to do, and you refused to do it. And it got people out to vote. Now what are your voters going to think? Already there are articles out polling this out, okay? Here's New York Magazine's Eric Levitz. Here's what he tweeted about this. So heretofore, $2,000 checks have meant increasing the size of the $600 check by $1,400. When Dems talk about $2,000 checks now, is that what they mean? Or do they mean bringing up the total to $2,600? I've also seen tweets saying, well, I mean, you'll be lucky if they don't just give you $200 because, the first $1,200 check plus the $600 check plus the $200 equals $2,000. We got you $2,000 checks. Oh my God, it'd be so dumb. On Thursday, writer and freelance journalist David Misner also tweeted this in response to Biden's $1,400 proposal. Quote, looks like Biden is breaking his promise of $2,000 checks. Vanessa B., editor at Current Affairs, also tweeted, quote, I, for one, am sure the American people will be relieved when it realizes when Biden said $2,000 checks would go out the door if Dems won Georgia, he meant the difference between whatever the Trump administration happened to issue in January and $2,000. If they get mad, we will simply print out the line buried in the fourth paragraph of the December Politico article and show it to them. Yes, that will go over quite well, I can imagine. Yes. Again, I said $2,000 is the compromise. Really, honestly, I think the American people should have received $2,000 monthly payments retroactive to the start of the pandemic. They can do that now. They have the power to do that now, but they won't Because they're agreeing with the Republicans. They're agreeing with people like Joe Manchin, who say that, oh, no, why should rich people get $2,000 a month? Why should we do that? Well, here's the thing about that. And Mitch McConnell was making that same argument against the one-time $2,000 check. Oh, rich people are going to get it. And here's the thing. You can just tax that back. If a rich person, if Jeff Bezos receives a $2,000 check for the next 6 months from the government, you know what the government can do? They can tax $2,000 back from Amazon. That's how that works. If somebody who doesn't currently need the money gets the money, you just tax it. It's not like there's not a finite supply of, or it's not that there isn't there's a finite supply of money, okay? The Federal Reserve can print it from thin air, literally. Money printer go burr. And I know some people will ask, well, what about inflation? If you print too much money, you're going to have inflation. Well, that's what taxes are for. Taxes literally take that money out of circulation, which prevents too much money from being in circulation at a time, which stops an inflation or slows it down. The whole point of the stimulus is to get people to spend money that they either don't have due to job loss during this pandemic, obviously, or have been saving for an emergency and have been spending on things like, bills, okay? And you do that by giving them more money. You need liquidity to be in the markets to create and sustain demand. And if you want to get an economy back on its feet following a crisis, which we're in a crisis, then giving people money directly in the form of direct checks is actually quite effective. It's better than, means-tested programs or tax credits. It's immediately getting money into the hands of the people that need it the most. That's how it works. Slate's Jordan Weissman argued this on Wednesday as well, that Biden should not weaken his coronavirus relief proposal with the goal of attracting bipartisan support. Quote, don't worry about doing too much, worry about doing too little, and about making sure that voters know you've come to the rescue. One danger is that the president-elect's desire for bipartisanship will get in the way of his instinct to act at the moment. Biden reportedly wants to pass the next COVID relief bill with GOP support, rather than using budget reconciliation process to enact it through a party line vote. Will he pare back parts of his agenda to win cooperation from Mitch McConnell and company, or burn precious time cajoling Republican senators who might not come along? Hopefully not, as says Weissman. Now, what do I see happening? Well, I see the exact situation that he didn't want to happen happening. I see either a wasting of time trying to convince Republican senators who are now austerity minded. So understand, when the stock market was going bad, the Republicans were like, what? No. National debt? No, we're not worried about that. Pass it now. But then when the $1,200 checks, here you go. But then when the stock market was okay, and now that the Democrats are going to take over, Republicans are suddenly remembering, oh, right, we're supposed to be fiscally conservative. We're supposed to argue for austerity. And so austerity helps them politically, by the way, because if the economy does not grow under Democrats or grows slowly, they can use that as a tool against Democrats in the upcoming elections. Mitch McConnell's used that a lot. He's used that a lot, quite a bit, actually. And so, yes, I think he's going to use that again because it's an effective tactic. And so they've got no reason to support $2,000 checks. They've got no reason to support a coronavirus stimulus bill. Again, the thing that they put up, Mitch McConnell had put up, had no stimulus in it. It was basically just giveaways to corporations. And that's it. And corporate liability as well. And so McConnell, Hawley, Graham, in my view, they're going to talk about austerity even more so than before, and how we just can't afford to do this. We just can't afford to do it. We're going to have to open up the country and make the stimulus smaller. And Biden's going to try to work with that. And again, we're either going to waste precious time and shove it through with a party line vote, or Biden will chuck out more in the bill in order to appease Republicans, which is going to harm a lot of people. And of course, the Republicans, every time they do that, they usually end up not voting for that bill anyway, and it ends up being a party line vote. So here we go again. We're going to end up doing, and this is what I fear, too little for the millions of Americans who are struggling right now and need this money. Okay. That's it. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for going around the nation with me today. Thank you for all the follows. By the way, Individualism Killed the Cat, thank you for the 2-month subscription at Tier 1. Much appreciated. Stay around. Twitch, we're going to raid into somebody else. As far as YouTube is concerned, let me see if we have some super chats here. Nope, but you can support this channel by doing super chats as well. Or, you know, subscribing, becoming a member, all that wonderful stuff. Let's see. Missed the whole thing. Oh, that sucks. You can watch the VOD though. Grumpy Cat, have an inciting erection weekend. Yes. I'm going to cite many of them. I'm kidding. All right. Let's see. People who watch here help increase the algorithm chances. Invite your friends to hate watch. Invite all your hate watch friends. Indeed. Yes. Thank you, angry conservatives. Much appreciated for your viewership. Some interesting, fun conspiracies to laugh at as well. All right, anyway. Thank you all. Love you. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. See you all later. Have a great weekend.